Hello, 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 and welcome to another Daily Code Fun. I am Daily, he said, intermittent code fun. I am One Lion. You are all amazing. Thank you for being here. I saw Deflux in chat already saying hi. I am getting all of my screens moved around as per usual at the head of my stream because I work until the very end. No. Keep those. All right. Oh yeah, I just finished updating Visual Studio. I don't know how long it's been since the new updates have been out, but I think I only updated preview. Deflux is really struggling with Angular, doing some backend stuff. Really miss doing Blazor dev. Were you here when I was talking about all of the extra things that I've been picking up lately with my job? Such as we're working on integrating another product that another team is working on. Um, so, oh, you just got back from Florida, says Deflux. Um, we're working on integrating. The way that Sagetti works is we are contracted to work. So they throw consultants at contract jobs essentially, where a company pays them for consulting services. We do dev work, we do server maintenance, server migrations, etc. We do the whole gambit of anything technology related for any other company. And so the current client that I'm working for, that I'm assigned to, the project is a desktop diagnostics application. And so this diagnostics application is specific to doing system internals kinds of tests. So the things that are built into the system, memory modules, processors, hard drives. I say built in, but you can plug in and unplug those or put them in the motherboard and remove them and stuff. So my job with this, just to explain it again for the 8,000th time, because apparently I like explaining this, is I was brought onto the team to update the UI, to modernize the UI. So it is a WPF desktop application, but the UI is written in Blazor. And so I was given a design. I put the design together I started with a Maui app because I thought that we were going to be using Maui for the potential of being able to do the same process on mobile and iOS, and you know what I mean, different platforms. But as it turns out, it's a Windows specific application, so we're only doing the WPF version, which I'm okay with. I mean, I still got to have fun with Maui and see that I could do the exact same project in Maui. So anyway, we're finished with the UI redesign. It's solid, it's implemented, we have the styles, we have the Blazor components, and now I'm just hooking everything up so that it functions exactly like the original application functioned. And all that I'm really doing is making my UI do what the original functionality is. While I was doing that, the client was like, we would like this other team, which is a different contract company that's still working for the same client, that's working on a different product. We would like for their product's functionality to be integrated into our product, into this product that the team that I'm working with is working on. And they wanted me to take the lead on how they should redo the UI to fit with our project. And so all of their UI is Angular, and it's also a desktop application that does a different type of hardware type related stuff. Shoot them. And so the way that they architected their application is different than ours. Ours, we have a library that has all of the tools and um, all of the tests that we can run, all of the diagnostics we can perform, our logging system, all of that. And that's a NuGet package. And so that can be updated separately. Then we come back to our main application. We update our NuGet packages when we're ready to start using those new NuGet packages. And development is smooth, but it's still, according to the other team, tightly couples, makes this monolith application of our front end. Whenever we make a change to the front end, we have to rebuild the entire application. Whenever we make a change only to the back end, we have to rebuild the entire application and make a new release. As opposed to their approach, which is the front end is the front end. It's almost like a web microservices approach. So the front end is entirely a separate build than the back end. The back end sits there and it listens over SignalR, gRPC, whatever else they want to use to call it. But the front end only can perform the calls to the back end. The back end responds with those calls and information. And that's cool. I like it a lot. But it also makes it easy for us to integrate their app. So, long story short, I guess their application having using Angular components for their front end, we could easily, not easily, they're doing a proof of concept right now. We can take their Angular components, they can turn them into Angular elements, which are compiled JavaScript files essentially that they would give to us, and we would use those. We would use JavaScript interop to communicate back and forth with the files themselves, and then we would use the HTML tags in our code. Yeah, and actually, I think I still have the how-to, how that actually works somewhere. I do not. I have too many things open is what I have. So let's see. Angular, there it is. Oh, I do have it open. It's right here. So blind. Anyway, so this article says that it's pretty easy. They're just supposed to use whatever the functionality is built in to turn their Angular component into an element and then give us the JavaScript files, and then we build JS interop wrappers around them. So here is their Angular element. At least it's not WordPress. Here's their Angular element. The data is passed in as JSON, which is fine. I mean, we can always create the JSON on the fly and then pass that into the element as needed. And then there are these JS invocables, which are the callbacks, the JavaScript callbacks to be able to get data back from the element. Yeah, absolutely. Here you are. So Dflix was just asking for the link, so I gave that to him. But yeah, hello Dukasoft. Dukasoft was like, at least it's not WordPress. Agreed. So anyway, it's supposedly easy. This is a little bit out. Like we have maybe 3 or 4 months before we're actually going to get this integrated. So that's, yeah, that's going to be a fun process. The whole point is now we're trying to make the decision, do we keep the Angular components, have them turn them into elements, and then just give us the JavaScript so that we can use those Angular elements in our UI and they maintain ownership of those UI elements. Yeah, if you want to use it in Blazor, there's 2 ways. You can just ship the whole Angular rendering engine or whatever it's called and just use the Angular components directly. Or you can do that process from the link that I put in chat that turns them into elements. And again, it just generates, let me see if I can show the files that it generates. Yeah, it generates so this JavaScript interop, I'm pretty sure is just the JavaScript interop that we write ourselves. I don't remember where that was. And I'm sure if we read this, we would know for sure. But this is just the JavaScript interop that we generate ourselves. This is the actual Angular element. So it needs this Angular scripts polyfill and then the actual element that you want to use. And then you import it in your index. In this case, it wouldn't be www dot, it would be your local JS file. And then you use it just like a HTML tag. So yeah, it really is like, do we have them, like they're currently working on making their app fit our look and feel anyway. So they have one more release of their app, and part of that is going to be doing the let's modernize it, let's get the look and feel to look just like the app that we're going to integrate into. So right now they use dialogues that kind of slide down from the top, and we use a flyout from the side, which I think I still have my code pen for the flyout when I was testing it. No, I do not. I don't. But anyway, I know that I have the flyout in the current app that we're working on in the current project. But yeah, so they're changing their modal drop down into a flyout or dialogue or whatever you want to call it, into a flyout from the side. They are updating the colors, they're updating the iconography. And so we're going to get elements out of the box that look like ours. The thing that I really don't know is if you do this, if you do this, can I still target the individual components? Is this going to output rendered HTML that generates this? Like if I right click and inspect, am I going to see all of the individual elements? So that I was waiting for them to do the proof of concept. I would have done it myself, but of course my project manager is like, let them do the proof of concept. You focus on our 2.0 release. I'm like, okay. So yeah, I'm hoping that we do get the entire HTML structure in our DOM so that I could target all of the subcomponents, because all of the CSS that styles those components will be using our CSS variable names. I gave them our :root, which has all of our CSS variable names, and they are supposed to be using those when they are styling the actual content. And so my CSS variables, however we decide to change them, will overwrite theirs. And then I'd be able to target and style as appropriate. So anyway, we have that option. The other option is let's go ahead and turn their Angular elements into Blazor. And we can do that ourselves. We would maintain the UI for that. We would have to add the appropriate calls to their backend application. But yeah, prog testing is here as well. He says, I did my first toe dipping into WPF yesterday and I really like it. Yeah. It's really easy for me because I don't need to touch any of the WPF stuff. I don't need to do any XAML. Like the only thing that I did was added dependencies and added a key gesture using command bindings. And Dflix wants to know if prog testing did it using Blazor. Did you do a Blazor web view? Control. Just good old WPF, he says. Yum. So, as I mentioned, I just recently updated my Visual Studio, which I don't know how many updates there were between then and updating it now. So I need to reopen the project. Where's my water? Water. My lips are so super dry, and I keep peeling them, and I'm gonna get a cold sore right here because I keep tearing it and it starts bleeding. So pretty soon in the near future, you're gonna see this big old disgusting looking thing on my lip, and you're gonna be like, I can't watch this stream. Hopefully most of you don't even look at the screen while you're here. You're just here for the laughs, for the chagrins and giggles. I just eat usually. This is prog testing. I would be eating too. Prog testing. Guess what? I did cut back on the snacking. So I thought that I was doing the eating thing okay, where I had my shake, small break, cereal, small break, meal bar, small break, yogurt or cheese or something, small break. So like very small meals over time, but just cutting out that breakfast shake and the meal bar, like you said, cuts out a ton of carbs already. So that's cool. I haven't gotten the whey powder yet, though. I just don't. Right now I'm just doing, I'm kind of just committing to less calories, I guess, less intake, as opposed to specific types of food. I need an actual dietitian or something to tell me what my body actually needs. Am I feeling different? I'm feeling more tired currently. I'm feeling deficient. But I'm sure that's going to change. Oh my goodness, my lip. But yes, it was easy to do that part. I did, but the only thing that the Forever 21, like the shop, the 23andMe information gave me was just here are some genetic markers for what you might be uh, at risk of. That's why I need a real nutritionist or dietitian or something to give me, here are the nutrients that your body needs, here's what you're deficient in, here's the diet that you should probably focus on. Ow. Goodness. If I could just get this small piece of skin to go away, then we can get started. Dang lip. Okay, moving on. Moving on. Enough about my nutrition self. The low energy could be the adjustment period. And stop fighting yourself. True. Yes. You're right. I've also just felt like extremely low energy anyway, even before starting that, and that was one of the reasons that I wanted to get started on that. But like, I don't know. I keep making the claim that energy is limitless, especially mental energy. You could reach into this bottomless chasm and draw energy from it whenever you want, whenever I want. And I could feel that happening, but it felt like I was expending more energy faster than I was drawing energy. And I needed a break. So I did take a small break for a little while. And then, of course, the reduced streaming is one of the effects of me doing that. This too shall pass. True. But yeah, it's feeling really good. Tuesdays and Thursdays are still pretty busy with meetings, but it still feels so very productive. Did you try arresting Sister Ed? I go to bed around 9 o'clock and I wake up at 4:30, so it's not bad. It's not like I'm missing sleep. It's a pretty good amount of rest. I try to balance. I do. Do you get switch off time during the week? Hmm. Yes. I've been committing to just when I step away from my computer. Well, actually, it's a little bit different. What I was hoping to do is as soon as I step away from my computer, I'm done with my workday, and then that's going to stay there, and then I commit the rest of my time to hanging out with my wife, enjoying shows or just talking with her or stories or whatever we happen to do. There are times that I'm still doing research, I guess, into the things that interest me, but that is kind of hobby work, so it's still unwind time, even though it's technical in nature. But what ends up happening, is I step away from my desk at around 3:30. I go cook or find food or whatever, eat dinner, and then I come back downstairs. I come to my computer and check for any emergency emails, and then I just see if there's anything that I can finish up real quick, and then I spend time with my wife. And then on the weekends, I try to just stay away from everything except my wife, of course. And that's been really helpful. But with, like, gosh, I haven't typed anything. It's story time. Like, the last thing that happened was that set of, like, I don't know, it was 3 or 4 weeks, um, where I suddenly was involved in this effort to try to win more business for Sagetti. And I was like very involved. I was at meetings like the last meeting that we had with them. No, not the last meeting. One of the major meetings that we had went from 8 a.m. until about midnight 30. And it was like, we'll meet for an hour, we'll do our part for an hour, we'll meet for another touch base for another hour, do our part for an hour. There were some other breaks in there, but the big push happened from 10 p.m. until 12:30 when we finally submitted the the thing. And yeah. So anyway, I was involved in that. I got involved in this metaverse thing. I got the extra duties with the current project, and I was coming up with plans, and then it was just like, draw more. Let's get this thing done in this amount of time. And yeah, yeah. But that's all cleared. Oh yeah, yeah. And then there was also stuff that was going on with the house at the same time. I think we were doing the landscaping or something. I can't remember what was going on at the same time. But there were just a lot of pending things. No OT. No T. However, yeah, we'll find out. We'll find out where that goes. The point is, if we do win the business, then I will be in a position to negotiate. Yeah, if I wanted to. Okay, code. We came here for software development, especially Blazor related. So this project that we're currently working on is the financial management tracker that I introduced not too long ago. I'm hoping to do this in a good development software development kind of approach, where we came up with design, came up with what the app does, database stuff, designed the UI, implemented the design, created some services but didn't implement anything, wrote some tests, and implemented the services until the tests pass. And so this is where we're at. We finished all of the deposit data entry stuff. And all of those tests pass for deposit. Here. And then after I made sure that all of the tests pass for deposit, since I'm using the exact same service for all of my transaction types, so a transaction is a financial transaction, a deposit, a payment, or a transfer. Since I'm using the exact same service for all three of those types, and any future type that I just haven't thought of yet, I was able to duplicate the tests for transfers, and all of those are passing, and for payments, and all but the getters are passing. And so I need to figure out why the getters are failing. And that's where we're at. That's what we're doing today. So Deflux said, negotiate a new Blazor dev position. If you want, Deflux, I can refer you. They are 100% remote. They are worldwide. All you have to do is send me your resume in Discord, private message, and I can refer you if you want. And that goes for any of you. If you are wanting to work for a software consultancy, the company's name is Sageti. My resume is a HTML file, index.html. Is that good enough? Sure, I'll just turn it into a PDF. But yes, it is good enough. Yeah. Anyway, company is called Sageti. Again, any views and opinions I express on my channel are my own and may not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of the company I work for. Proc Testing says I would love to have a real job with .NET. There are a million out there. Dukasoft, yours is not going to work. Dukasoft said my resume is on a WordPress site. I'm sorry, unacceptable. Cool. Deflex says, I would love nothing more. However, if I quit, I have to pay them all my moving costs back, so I have another 4 months or so. Then it's halved. Yeah, you can go the entire time. Just let me know. If I'm still here, just let me know. Or if I'm still working at this job, which I plan to be. I was actively looking for work with one of the big tech companies, specifically Microsoft. There's no secret about it. But yeah, I found out that I really, really enjoy this work currently, and it's really fun. And I feel valued, unlike at my previous job where I really, really enjoyed the work, but I was super duper undervalued. But I believed in the work enough that I stayed there until this one just kind of came out of nowhere. So I went with it. Who's hanging out in community chat tonight? Asked Prog Testing. Not it. I have a meeting at 12 o'clock and then at 3 o'clock. Or not 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock. 12 o'clock Eastern time. Pacific time. Where are they? They are in Pacific. Yes. But if I had a guaranteed job, I might convince them to fire me. Sadness intensifies. I'm sorry, protesting, but look, I have been reducing the amount of extra responsibility I've been putting on myself. And it's been very beneficial. Very, very beneficial. And that responsibility includes the stream and voice channel Discord. Because as much as I like to say that I'm a multitasker, the work that I'm currently doing is a bit more mentally taxing. Because now I'm actually reading their code and figuring out how it works and then hooking up my front end to that code and hopefully improving bits of it. Man, I just wish I could show you guys the product itself because the person that designed this, again, I am not going to take credit for any of the design. Well, I have to take credit for some of the design because not everything was shown. Wait, you have to read? Oh my gosh. Time to quit. Good grief. Um, the the I don't even remember what I was saying. That was too funny. It doesn't matter. It was probably nothing important. What are we asserting that's failing? We are asserting that things match and things are not matching. "19 objects are null." So let's get to here and find out what's going on. It's probably that I didn't write a good generate transactions for payment entries. Data? No. Wait, one? Is this a get by ID? Oh, this is a get by ID. Whoops. I was looking at get by ID. Okay, anyway, point is, we were expecting back account ID, transaction ID 1 with line items, 2 line items, which I'm not even verifying down here that the line items came back with it. But the point is, we did get a record back, and the account ID, oh, yeah, so let's go there. Okay, so none of those are null. Returned value, returned view model is not null. Account ID is equal to account ID, transaction date 10/17/2019, 7 p.m. UTC. Those are equal. Memos are equal. Payee IDs are equal. Total is not equal. Aha. And the only way that total is going to be equal is if I include the line items. So that's why that one's failing. Oh. Oh. Bum, 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 bum. Boo. Why didn't I hear that? Maybe it hasn't played yet? Totally fail. There it is. That was lagged. Lag. Details. Okay, that gives me transaction by ID. And what about you guys? X may be null here. Truth. You can't do that. How am I supposed to handle that? So it is definitely possible that X is null, and I need a conditional then include. So like if we have a payment, then include payment details. Prog testing says, today I only did 10 minutes of Qigong stretching, no 2-hour workout. You cheater. You cheater. You better make up for that. Like right now. I need a conditional. And I don't think that there's a way to then include payment details if X is null. I guess we'll find out if this fails from our test. Let's just run all tests because it should fail for deposits and transfers if this is going to be an issue. Run. Run is what I'm trying to do. Oh. Oh, it finished. Yeah, so wait, what? Wait, what? Apparently that's not an issue. Yeah. So this little artifact here, the one that tells us that possible dereference of a null value or dereference of a possible null value, in a then include statement is not an issue because in all of the cases for deposit and transfer, payment is null. And it has no problem with that. Okay, well, all of my tests passed now. So let's start writing out the remainder of the logic. Let me do a commit. Oh, I only have local commits. Right. The other thing we did was a database migration. Which we're going to commit. Database migration. Database migration to Excel 97. Absolutely. We need to get it in the right database for this application, and Excel is the obvious choice. It's Captain Commerce, by the way. I didn't say hello earlier when he was like bedtimes. What's that? What's that like? And Deflex is like, hey, Captain Commerce, how you been? Deflex was out in Florida for how long did you say? 2 months? Some extremely long amount of time. Florida. Oh, you didn't actually say. I have no idea where I got 2 months from. Just a week or so. Not long enough. Excel, the only data way. Yes. Captain responds to Deflex saying, ahoy, been dealing with a cold since I was in Vegas on the vacations. Been having this lingering cough. That's been affecting my streams. Yeah. Deflex posted us a picture. A massive picture. Holy cow, it's not going to fit on screen. High quality resolution right there. Man, I love Florida beaches. I love the Caribbean coast beaches. White sand, just so nice. So nice. Awesome. And Dukasoft just gave Captain Commerce a shout out. If you are not following him, he streams regularly Mondays and Fridays and in the evenings. So for those of you that evening US time is better, a better time for you, he's got pictures for days. Well, definitely feel free to drop them into shared any on the Discords if you feel like sharing them, of course. But yeah, I love the beach. Absolutely love the beach. And this doesn't look that crowded, which is crazy. Which coast is, I mean, which beach is this? On the Keys? Yeah, I've only been to Pensacola and Miami Beach. It's a secret. You had to bribe the locals to tell you about it. It's pretty much a private beach right there, yeah. Brock Testing says, I went to Daytona Beach. It was great. Yeah. Oh man, I miss the beach so much. I just miss the water. I mean, we have great views of the mountains and they look cool and everything, but nothing beats oceanside views. So nice. Another one. They kept the same zoom. Oh yeah, I may have been here before. They take you on the little I forget what they're called. They're like hovercrafts, pretty much. Yeah, I think I have been here. I was here with my parents. Let me see if I can find that picture. It's on my spinny disc. Swamp Boat. Maybe that's what it's called. I mean, that it sounds like it's what it should be called. I keep all of my backed up pictures and everything from 1864 on my spinny drive. Florida. When was Florida? Pike Pass. Here it is. We went to Arizona and Florida. But I don't think I went with them to Arizona. Wait, maybe this is just my parents going there. Where's the Florida trip? Florida. Here we go. This is me and my dad. Chunky. Chunky little kid. That was years ago. And look, I'm wearing my Surrender the Booty shirt. This is me and my dad and my mom. These hats. Oh, I still have that shirt, I think. I've had that shirt for a long time if I do. Captive gator. Oh, you're not allowed to touch the gators anymore without a license. Wow. Lucky. But yeah, you can see the little boat thingy, probably swamp boat that I was talking about. Whoa, nice catch. I missed chat while I was pulling that up. Captain Commerce said, oh. One thing I've been meaning to do is add some pics to the food channel. I love seeing food pics. It's so nice. I love food. What can I say? Um, my old air fryer bit the dust, so got a new one after the vacation, and my lunches have been spectacular. But alas, I only remember after I've eaten it. I'll be more mindful in the future. Um, so Deflux was like, yeah, you're like, this is so good on each bite. And Captain Commerce said that prog testing gave me that idea. Is it spinning yet? The disc, it took a minute to start spinning. I double clicked on the folder and it was like, oh, are you sure you want to access files from here? It's my warm storage. Actually, it is almost cold storage. Feels like it has to start up every single time. And it was the idea of posting food pics as we were chatting about NOP stuff a few weeks ago. Yeah, food pics is my type of porn. This is proc testing. Mine too. And yeah, probably for the best. The alligators. Alligators and crocodiles. Which I feel kind of bad, but not really. On our way down to Florida during that particular trip, we went through um, H Place in Texas. I can never remember the name. It's along the coast. It starts with an H. And yeah, anyway, we stopped by there because during the Cotton Bowl trip, no, not Houston. That one would have been easy. Um, I think it's close to Dallas. Watch it not even start with an H. Alice Fort Worth. Um, cities in Texas that start with H. Oh my goodness, there's a lot. And nope, it doesn't start with H. Honolulu. Perfect. Nailed it. Why is this place so hard to remember the name of? It's a coastal city along the southern coast on the not the New Mexico side. Not New Mexico, Mexico. Oh my gosh. Why is this so hard? Baytown. It's definitely a well-known place, but it's not Dallas, Houston, San Antonio. Denver. It's not. It doesn't start with H. I looked at all of the H cities, and it wasn't any of those. Why, brain? Why do you do this to me? Dang, there are a lot of cities in Texas. I can't remember what it is. But yeah, I remember that we went through. Nope, can't even remember that. Oh my goodness, my brain. Where's Emerald Coast? Hell, that's exactly where I went. Hell, Michigan. Galveston. Wow, that was hard. And that was Houston? Really? I thought it was over here that we went. It was definitely Galveston though. Anyway, we passed through Galveston so that we could stop along the coast and hang out at the beach there on our way to Florida. Then when we went through Louisiana, we went through um, place in Louisiana, New Orleans. Anyway, point was we stopped in New Orleans. We stopped in New Orleans on our way there. There was this kind of really, really scary stop that we stopped at where the door, it was like the only hotel motel place that we could find that was open. And my dad like got the key from them. We pulled up to where the door is, and the door, like, we were sitting in the car, but my dad got out to go check out the room, and you could tell that the door was still partially open, and according to him, the handle on the door was missing. Is this a story about how you were born? No. Yeah, it was scary. Anyway, while I was here, the reason that I said that I felt bad was because on our way to Florida, where we got to pet the alligators or whatever they were, I had alligator sausage or crocodile sausage. I can't remember which one it was, but it was really tasty, and I ate a lot of it. And then I went and I saw their cousins the next day. And then, and then, and then we came here. Oh, hey, I can see, I can see, Broken Sword. I can see Broken Sword from here. Look, okay. I mean, I'm not doing anything, so it's kind of the same thing. But thanks for hanging out, Captain Commerce. Hopefully, I'll be able to at least lurk a little bit more actively on your stream someday. You're so kind being here, even though I'm not the ideal. Anyway, we got our test to work. I'm trying to check in my changes. Um, this was updated the null ability of the transfer type. Transfer detail, payment detail. That's weird that it's not showing up as an actual change though. Because I definitely changed this from not nullable to null, or sorry, this was fine. It's the context, right? It was not nullable here, but for some reason in the context, I had listed it as not nullable, like explicitly put in my Fluent API. Oh, past lunch. Can't read today. why? Why do you need to read? Don't read. Don't you know books are illegal? Um, yeah. Anyway, for some reason I had the memo and the detail, or I had this listed on memo, which not nullable string fields are automatically not nullable and is required. If you don't have the is required, then it just uses the nullability of the property, which in this case is a nullable string. And then the same thing for detail. For some reason I put is required, even though I meant is not required. So we fixed that and we did the migration. And that fixed the tests. And so the other thing that I'm doing, actually, I'm going to stage the database changes separate from what we just did. Then I'm going to say that we updated the payment the transaction service to include payment details. Getter. Getir. Okay. Those are now on the server. I don't know why they weren't there before, other than the one that I just made today, the change that I just made today. But those are on GitHub. GitHub, where the project is. Okay, and we have passing tests. Yay, passing tests. I love the glyphs in the code lens. So helpful. Code coverage, man. Code coverage. Okay, so we have all of the functionality needed to get, put, post, delete all of our transaction records. So now what we need is the client-side implementation so that the front end would be able to call those methods when we are running in something like WebAssembly or Maui that's using a HTTP request to the API server. You know? So let's do that. Let's close out of everything because we're starting a new effort. Let's start clean. The things that we need for this are in shared libraries. We need the interface for transaction service. In the client side, we need the implementation of the service. Do we need anything from state at this point? I don't think so. Okay, then in our API server, we need our available controllers, which we only have the deposit controller. Let's make sure that this thing is completely set up. And when we're sure that it is, we'll just copy it twice, once for the payment, once for the transfer type of transactions. So we have get all. We don't have a get by ID. So let's get a get by ID. from route, from query, from route. Dang it. And we're going to constrain this, by the way, to an int. So not nullable int ID. And we will get transaction by ID. Just like that. Okay, so we have get all, get by ID, create new, update existing, delete. Cool. So now we're going to duplicate this. What's from route do? So because I think that it's implied and you don't actually need it. Let me fix this thing that I just did real quick so we can read it. Those are still attributes. They're just attributes on parameters. So let's call this one payment, plural. And then I'll show you. But hello, Zuris. How are you doing? Yeah, that's fine. I'll definitely explain. Okay, so this from route in a controller, in an API controller, means that we're looking for a property or a value to populate in this property, in this parameter from our URL route. So that would be something like, an example would be API slash, so my route for this specific action is API slash controller name. In this case, it's payments slash, and then an ID. Because I have the ID here, then it's going to look in the route for the value to populate into this variable. I could, however, also have stuff like, I don't know what else I would put in here, but I could also have something like a from query. Which would allow me to do something like question mark AOD. So notice I'm using the same parameter name and then a value. Right, exactly. Yeah, so I'm pretty sure that we don't need the attribute because there is a precedence that happens, which is if you're using a primitive, then it'll first look for a matching pattern in the route, and then it'll look for a matching name in the query string, and then it will look for header, JSON content, something. I can't remember what the order of precedence is. So yeah, this might not be needed. Yeah, just being safe specific, safe/specific. Good questions and statements and thoughts. Okay, so we got payments, and now we got talk personality, walk personality, transfers. Transfers. Right. And so I forgot to update the view model type. Cool. So with that, we know that our test passed, which means that the add, update, delete, get all work for every single one of my transaction types, which means that when I call this, there should be no errors, unless, of course, I'm having communication errors between the front end and the back end. So what that means is all I have to do in my UI, I guess I'll go ahead and commit this locally. For added the get by ID method for deposits, added payments API endpoint, added payments and transfers API controllers. Cool. Local. Okay, so now on our client side, aha. Okay, so this thing is specifically calling deposits. And so I have two or more options that I can think of off the top of my head so that we can dynamically set which API endpoint we're going to based on our T data entry view model. The first one is to set a actually in both cases, I think I'm going to set a private read-only string. Copilot. Very, very smart Copilot. And so the first way that I could let me get to the punchline. Stop stealing my thunder. The first way that I could do it is get the type of view model that I have and then just strip off the data entry view model portion of it. That would require me to make sure that anytime I add tab, it's done. Anytime that I add a new transaction type, a new data entry type, that I need to make sure that the name ends with deposit view or data entry view model. Which, where are all of my inheritances? Oh, it's from here. Duh. So you can see that every time that I've declared something that implements transaction data entry view model, that it ends with entry. Oh, it ends with entry view model. So I'll need to fix that real quick. But yeah, I'll need to be consistent. The other way that I could do it, that is probably more safe, is to make an extension off of transaction data entry view model. And I think that's the route that I would prefer to go anyway. So this really would only exist in the client. I don't want to put it inside of my shared because this goes everywhere. This goes in my server. This goes, yeah, it goes in my server project. If I have a WPF project, Blazor client project, etc. Anywhere that I want to use any of these models and interfaces. So this really is specific to my client project or any of my clients that will be using the API itself. So this is going to be an iTransaction data entry view model extensions. Just keep adding words. It'll be fine. Everything's fine. I didn't mean to make it an interface. My bad. Static class is what I meant to make it. File scope namespace, get rid of my unused usings, and we have a public static string. This is going to be a method, but it's an extension method. And so, yeah, I'm still going to use a verb. Get API controller. Get API endpoint. Get API endpoint. That's what I'm going to do. this I transaction data entry view model view model. I could do it on type because that's really the only thing that I care about. I don't know. It's probably going to be easier if I do it this way. View model switch, and we do it as a pattern match by picking the specific type. So for example, deposit entry view model VM. So if this is a deposit entry view model, actually this is discard because I'm not going to use that at all. We're just checking the type. Then we're going to return name of, oh, I can't do that because I don't have a dependency or a reference to the server project. I wanted to do name of deposit controller. That way if I change that, then I would be guaranteed to have the right name. That would have been my desire. Maybe I can't put this in the server project because the client doesn't have any reference to that either, so I wouldn't be able to get this extension method. Okay, if anyone else can think of a better way for me to get back the controller name in a programmatic way as opposed to these magic strings that I'm about to use, please let me know. Otherwise, it's just going to be deposits, plural. Payment. And transfers. Otherwise, so this discard here is the default case, the catch-all, whereas this discard is the placeholder for what I would be putting the converted type into. You know what? This should throw new not implemented exception. That way, if I ever do add a new transaction type, I would be reminded to come here and implement the endpoint for it, as opposed to doing something like returning string.empty. Cool. All right, then let's use this. And actually, do I want to put the whole thing? Because what if I decide that I want to create a controller that doesn't have API slash in front of it? Then I would come here and update the thing instead of always having API slash controller name. Cool. Good idea. So here on the client side, we're saying, oh no, I do need to do it on type. Man. Which kind of bites because if I do it on type, then we're going to get it everywhere. We're going to get this extension method on every type, but that's fine. It should be fine. It'll be fine, right? Right. So we'll do it on type, and we'll do VM type, and then these will all need to be changed to type of. But I think that these actually do have to be var VM type var t when t is type of. Man. Thankfully, there aren't that many types that I would need to be checking this against, and it's only going to be once every so often. It's not like it needs to do this a million times an hour or a minute or a second. So this shouldn't be too taxing. Okay, so that's where we can use it here. Get API endpoint on type. If I wanted to be cool about it, I could do it more like this. Let me just see if this works. Hello, Amin. Oh my goodness, so nice to see you. I get to see you hanging out in C# Fritz's stream so often. It's nice seeing you hanging about. Okay, if I took this generic here and I put it here, and I said trans service must be a reference type. We know. I wasn't done. I was putting this on here. Jeez. And actually, I can even do it like this. Then I can switch on T data entry. Oh, wait. Even better. Trans service. And this is where I could use this. Where T data entry view model in this case would be my deposit entry view model. Okay. This might work. Give me a second and I'll look. I promise. Promise. And there we go. What if I did it this way? Then I could go this dot get API. And that should give me the correct API endpoint. And that way, I'm not just using this extension on any type that I get back. It has to specifically be an iTransaction entry service of T data entry view model, where T data entry view model is blah. Is blah. Is blah. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, anyway, so Amin is here and he's like, I forgot. I like to code while listening to streams. Yeah, me too. I've actually disconnected from that too. I still try to lurk on people's streams, but I have the tab muted because again, the stuff that I've been doing lately has been a lot more involved than just throwing together a UI design that someone else made. And because it's taking a bit more thought, I try to be super focused. Yeah. Hey, it broke. Awesome. Why'd you broke? Failed to fetch, probably because it needs to rebuild. Or it's not running. Probably because it's not running. That would help. Good times. You're using a preview version of .NET. Tell me I'm using a preview version of .NET. It's so weird though. Like you would expect that because I'm using the CLI from Visual Studio that it would use whatever version Visual Studio is using, which would be .NET 6 in this version. But it uses whatever version you have in PowerShell in general, which is currently set to 7. But it should use this project's version. Whatever. 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 Don't nobody care. Okay, so far we don't have any issues with loading our transaction service. We would have gotten an error right away with coming to this page because it's dependency injecting an iTransaction entry service of one of them. Which one are we on? Payment. So that means that this would have gotten called, and if that was an error, we would have seen it. So now let's change out all of these for curly bracey controller name. Is there a set date for .NET 7 or is it just this month? There most likely is a set date. Let me see if I can find it on this. This is breaking changes. That's not what I was looking for. This is breaking changes. Well, here's some breaking changes for .NET 7. Things that are changing between what? Things that are changing between .NET 6 and .NET 7, such as in authentication and WebAssembly apps. Sorry, what? I hub clients and I have color clients. Yeah, this would be good to read through. Oh no, don't break my auth. It is very, very brittle. Please do not touch my auth. APIs, .NET, not APIs. What am I looking for? You know what? It's probably on .NET. My guess would be sometime during November 8th through 10th. So next week. 1 week from yesterday. Amin says, I just knew that JSON as a type will be supported in Entity Framework 7. Super excited. They are currently talking about that on their channel, I believe. I think it's the EF Core community stand-up. Yeah. What are you guys talking about? They're not actually talking at the moment. Finally, real representation of value objects says, the Neo. Okay, so that should have updated all of our API calls. Why did you get a space suddenly? That was awkward. You need to be interpolated. Anyone else using underscore controller name in an non-interpolated way. Aha! Wait, I thought we just double checked to make sure that the client-side implementations were all complete. What? Okay, let's go ahead and implement these two. An update is just an add, so it's going to be the same logic here. And a delete is kind of the same as a get, except it's only returning a cookie, only returning an ID. And I know that I can see this. I can see the green squiggly. For those of you that are concerned about the green squiggly, I hate the green squiggly too, but I wrote myself a note right here that says I need to do something with success status here. That is, we got a success response from the server. However, serializing the response model ended up causing an exception, maybe. Which I guess really means I need to put that comment there. Okay, so this is going to be a put instead of a post, but it's going to essentially be exactly the same thing. We're sending the same type of data and we're getting back the same type of response. Get rid of every word that we're specifically saying that it is a specific type of transaction, because now this is used for all of them. Do, 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 do. You are all udpates. See, if I say udpate, I'm going to type it correctly. If I try to say update, then I'll dyslexify the P and the D. Okay, so delete is a get. Maybe. Oh, delete is the same as a put and a post, isn't it? That sucks. And the reason that it is because the delete doesn't have a delete as JSON, or it probably, yeah. It only has a delete async. And so we are getting the actual response model. or we're not getting the actual response model. We're getting a HTTP response back. Ooh, I hope that's a thing that I did. We're getting a HTTP response back that we need to parse the JSON out of. We need to parse the JSON out of that. I'm going to do EG instead of that is, because that's only one example of what the exception could be at this point. Cool. So let's go back to that controller real quick, because I don't know if I put the ID as a route parameter for delete. I didn't, because I was doing it from query. Ah. Well, I changed my mind, okay? So hard to. Does your client require you to use their PC? I don't think they require me to, but it is a lot easier if I do. There are certain resources that I wouldn't have access to otherwise. But I'm pretty sure that I could do the software development on any on any PC. Because the GitHub project, the GitHub repositories are still going to be available to me from GitHub Enterprise as long as I log in using the correct credentials. But also the software that I work on is pretty specific to the hardware on the PC. So yeah, that's another reason for me too. Yeah, and I don't need to connect to a VM. I have Visual Studio Enterprise installed on that machine, licensed version. And how is the Agile experience going? It is interesting. We had a bit of difficulty because the project manager wanted to implement a new branching strategy. And it wasn't really the branching strategy that they were trying to implement, it was the PRs to master, committing to master. So he wanted to get away from everyone being able to commit directly to master. Everyone was doing their work directly on master, and so he wanted to enforce a peer review kind of thing. Since we aren't doing pair programming, when we commit to master, it needs to go through checks to make sure that it gets reviewed. And so what that means is putting a gate in front of commit to master, which really means making a new branch and then doing a PR and picking reviewers. So now everyone is working from a branch, and then they do all of their work, and then they do a PR to master afterwards, making sure to merge from master to their branch. And then at least one other person has to review their code before it can get pushed, as well as all of the automated checks and tests. Dugazoff says, I'm kind of happy that I don't have access from home. Not sure I'd be able to let it go if I did have access. True. I told you at the top of the stream that when I head over there or upstairs, it's still really tempting for me to just hop on over to my workstation and be like, well, maybe I can just finish this thing up real quick. And then that could take the rest of the night. And then I lose all that time and don't get compensated for it. But yeah, I definitely just like my thing is, and there was kind of a meme-ish thing that I saw earlier about it, but my thing is that I would rather do a ton of work compressed together to make sure that whatever I'm currently working on gets done all the way to the point of getting it done, and then do nothing, which would mean that I get to do whatever else I want, like the VRTK tutorial that I was working on, or learning more about the metaverse, watching other streams. So live coding says, and hello live coding, people are different. I have and have always had absolutely zero temptation to work after hours. Currently taking a compensation afternoon off for various reasons, and I'm about to launch Steam. Awesome. I hope you have fun. Are you doing more Gary's mod? That was the last thing I saw you streaming. I will 100% get back to Gary's mod and sandbox, but not today. According to public health records, I'm due for an Omicron dose of the COVID-19 vaccine. Great. But not today. I'm definitely going to need to, Christy, my wife and I are going to need to get a booster shot. It's a trap. Okay, we did all of the controller updates. We did all of the implementations of the service. See, I'm gonna leave that as that. Those all say the same to do. We'll figure out what we're gonna do with that later. So yeah, now we just need to start hooking everything up. So we're gonna do another local commit for updated updated the controller actions and implemented the remaining client side methods. Local commit. Amin says, I do work more after and even sometimes weekend because I have less pressure during the day. Live Coding says, I described our backlog today as Hercules 7 labors. What does that mean? If it's a reference, I don't know it. So if I tried to catch up, I'd be working around 80 hours a week. That's what I used to work. Like, I really don't have a problem doing that. As long as my time is being valued. 7 impossible tasks. The labors of Hercules. If Hercules had a son, what would his name be? Terrible joke. Or if Hercules named his son after him, what would he call him? Anyway, it's a Spanish thing. So like in Spanish, parents usually, or I guess adults usually call kids whatever their name is with ito at the end. Like my name would have been Bertito. Actually, it was Junito. Yeah, Hercules Jr. So like Junito, because I was little junior, little Berto, Bertito. So Hercules would be shortened to Herculito, and that would be little butthole. Anyway, good times. Learn Spanish. Hercules the second. Herculeson, son named after Hercules. Of course, Germanic names like that. Okay, where are we? We are needing to hook up our front end to the back end now using those services. So when I click submit, I want to be able to submit this new payment transaction to the server. So let's open up dos or tres. Hercules le Petit in French. Talk the younger. I'm trying to open up the UI for this. Where is that? Oh, I don't know, in a folder called UI maybe? Just a guess. So this, by the way, the thing that you see me doing is my normal work process, which is why I don't have my Solution Explorer taking up the right side of my screen anymore. And usually I just have it fully collapsed. But I've kind of liked having my Solution Explorer in this little box down here. But I open up all the files that I think I'm going to be using that are related to my current task. And then I don't really have to touch the Solution Explorer anymore. And so I'll have like maybe, I don't know, 20 or so project or files open. And sometimes I do the thing where I put all of my C# files in the bottom half, but that's when I'm on this screen and I have more vertical space. And then if I need an even further split, then I'm usually working on either the front end and the CSS, like the content and the CSS for that file, or the content and the code behind. And so I split them up like this. But it's rarely the case that I'm working on the content.razor and the CSS and the CS, the code behind, all at the same time. Yeah. If I do this, I'd probably want this. Tasty. The problem with doing that is now when I restore these and I repin them, oh, Solution Explorer stayed on its own. Cool. Yay. I thought that Solution Explorer got absorbed into the other group, but it doesn't. Yay. I like it. Cool. So anyway, we are going to hook up the payment, submit payment button. That's a line item. To the actual service, which it probably is already. It's not. Just kidding. It isn't. Do I use ReSharper? No. Like if that one's a paid extension, then no. If there's a free version of it that's installed by default, then yes. But no, I don't use ReSharper. Visual Studio has plenty of tools that are good enough to help me out. But is there something Is there a selling point to ReSharper that you would recommend it for someone that's using Visual Studio on a, let's say, hobbyist basis? So I'm not creating professional products with on stream. I'm creating my products, my side projects. But for my work product, maybe I should use ReSharper. But if so, why? Why use that over just the built-in tools in Visual Studio? Big Gamey's here. Holy cow. Hello, Big Gamey. How are you on this fantastic Wednesday? I haven't seen you streaming lately. But then again, I really haven't been paying attention to Twitch as much because I've been super duper focused on my work. Doing good. Just got back from 3 weeks in England. Took October off from streaming. Well, good on ya. Glad you're back. I hope you got to enjoy yourself while you were there. I've been there once, and it was because I was getting conned, but also, but also, it was a good trip in general. It was a great experience. Live Coding says, I love all JetBrains, but yeah, full VS keeps adding stuff I love from ReSharper. ReSharper still has some pretty neat things that VS can't do, but not enough to justify switching, in my opinion. It is a very good opinion, and you know that I value your opinion. It was fun, but over too fast. Yeah, that's what Deflux said. Deflux was in Florida for a week, and he said that it wasn't enough time there either. Saw family I hadn't seen since pre-pandemic. Wow, that's a long time. Must have been nice. What? That's terrible. Don't say things like that. And Amin says, no way. If only I did know. Know what? That Big Gamey was in England? Oh yeah, and I missed, what's Mini Herc? It's just Mini Herc. Oh my gosh, I can read. Would you have visited him? I assume that everything that doesn't look like a regular English word that Dukasoft types at least is Danish. So I read it with a European accent ish. I was like, Mini Herc. What is that? Oh, okay. So yeah, Bit Gamey. If you have not followed Bit Gamey, he is a fun, awesome streamer. It is so much good times over on his stream. Whenever he is back on, let's give him a big old warm welcome back. Good times over on his stream. He is a game developer. Last seen working on I Am a Dog. Because that's what I last saw you working on. So that means that that's the last thing you were working on, right? But he has so many cool interactions on his stream itself. You can you can drop hot dogs on his head and then turn him into a hot dog. You can reverse time, turn him into a baby. It's good times. Good times. The new stream has had a full makeover. Oh man, I definitely need to visit the next time I see you live. I just haven't been like yesterday. I didn't lurk on anyone's stream at all. I didn't even have Twitch open. I know, sacrilege. The baby stayed though. You're already baby faced as it is, so then seeing you like completely returned to baby form. It's just like, it's crazy. Uh, how did you read mine? French, I guess. You didn't hear me actually say it. Hercules le Petit. Actually, I don't really know how Hercules would be pronounced in French. Hercule? Hercule? I don't know. Le Petit. My favorite is when my project manager, if any word ends with the letter D, it gets pronounced. So like posted. Uh, this needs to be made. Made. And Bob Ross is here too. Hello, Bob Ross. My computer keeps being strange. It just decided to scan and repair my D drive. That doesn't sound strange. That sounds safe. And I had to do that to like 3 million files. Took forever. That's funny though. They were just talking about today. I don't think I can share that. Never mind. Work related stuff. Okay. This needs to call. Actually, you know what? It's exactly the same as deposit. So why doesn't deposit have this though? Oh, this needs to do the extra validation on. Yeah. This needs to do extra validation on the line items. But yeah, Bob Ross is like, I had 3 million files and it took forever. No strange, because I don't know why. I should be given an indication of some sort why I would do that. What make is your computer? Um, you know what? We're gonna make a deposit entry base. Oh, we're gonna make this so much easier. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and type this out. Oh, custom built. Cool. I'm going to go ahead and have these be separate, but what we're going to do in the next stream that I'm actually working on the project, which probably won't be Friday because Friday we usually have community day, and I say that I'm going to be working on the project, but usually we end up having some pretty good conversations, so I don't really do anything else other than talk with you guys. So, I mean, I still do a lot of that anyway during my normal streams. But yeah, Dukasoft was like, "You sure that drive is healthy?" Bob Ross says, "I'm gonna check the event logs, and it should be. No reason why it shouldn't. Nothing runs on it. It's only storage, so no reason for anything to get damaged apart from games. I don't know. It's custom built. Can drive repairs happen when the computer has an unexpected shutdown? Yeah, definitely. Um, is the drive that it scans solid state, or is it spinny disk?" Because unexpected shutdowns could cause write errors or head crashes or scratching and disgusting things happening to your disk. So it was probably checking for that if it was because of a unexpected shutdown. Um, and then all drives in general have bad sector checks and consistent con, data consistency, whatever it's called. Cool. That sounds good. Okay. So yeah, the next time that we work on the project, like actually work on the project, we will be genericifying the data entry forms themselves into a base data entry form. Big Gammy says, I don't think I have any spinny drives now. They're all SSDs. I have one, and it's an external drive that is 10 terabytes, and it's my persistent cold storage-ish solution for all of my records and stuff from 1872 or earlier. I used to have one as a main drive. It had boot issues, so I used it as a secondary drive, and then it finally died. That would be very sad if this drive died. What am I trying to do now? Now I am trying to copy over all of this code, such as in the submitting flag and the current response. Cool. And now we need to make this a sync tax. This is going to be our transfer. I don't have the service injected. Yeah, this is going to be really fun to make generic. I love it's probably bad, but I really do love extension methods and generics. So we're going to make a generic data entry base that's going to have a T data entry view model as a generic on it. And all of this code is going to essentially be the same except for the new record. So like even this is going to be a T, and we're just going to do activator dot create instance of that T type. But the lookup list are the things really that are going to be different. Oh, it's going to be so much fun. Okay, so we get rid of you and you. You are transfer entry service. And new transfer. These are not transfers, these are payments. What are you thinking? Oh my gosh. I don't know what that is. Excuse me, what is this? I don't really know what that is, to be honest. Okay, point is, this should work for our payment, and we're going to copy this one more time for our transfer, and then the next time we will clean it up, make it more robust, clean, work properly. So give me these. And I may as well copy this one too. Move you up. I copied the lookup list state. Jerk. And then everything that says payment. This is the transfer. And all of these. Oh, we don't need this for this one. Those are, I'm pretty sure that this one is specifically to validate all of my line items. for a payment. And I guess the last thing that we'll do for today's stream is add the actual button hookup. Is it button hookup? In deposit, I think it's in a form. Yeah, that's what happened. In payment, I am having the button itself do the submit, do the handle submit, which means also validate. And on the others, I am using on valid submit. And so that's what I need here. On valid submit. Cool. And now my transfer is hooked up. So all of those should work. We're not going to test it today because I need to go back to work. But I do appreciate you guys hanging out with me today. It was fun times, good times, fantastic times. I'm going to jump back to work, enjoy the rest of my day. So I hope you are all able to enjoy the rest of your day as well. I really appreciate you hanging out with me. If I didn't say that already, if I did say it already, then I really, really appreciate you hanging out with me. And I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day. I'll still try to be around to answer stuff on Discord, but I'm gonna be pretty busy. I have a meeting in 30 minutes and then again at 2.5 hours from now. So yeah. Yes, thank you, Dukasoft. After the stream, I try to make sure that I prepare the VOD and post it on YouTube's. It should be available on YouTube's 24 hours after I end the stream, thereabouts. Yeah, and it does have the 11D lion on it. The 11D lion in my YouTube handle is because someone had already taken 1 lion. And I, like, as soon as I got the email that said you can now set your handle, I went to the link, I set my handle, tried to pick 1 lion, and it was already taken. And the person that took it, their channel name is Randall. And that's it. It's a YouTube love handle. So anyway, that's it from me. I'll see you guys later. Ciao for now. I'll be back again on Friday for Community Day. All right. Cheers. Bye.